It continues, my friends, in search of significance across the inner landscapes here, across the vista, this grid that I see in front of our ship. It's kind of like Tron. Welcome back. Artist Journal, March 26, 2025. Broadcasting from inner space. My name's Adrian Pocobelli, shouting into the wilderness. A little sick. Again. A tiny cold, so I am taking it easy. A little bit of cold medication and a lot of coffee, so things could get a little wild, or I could just fall asleep here. So, anyway, check this out. Look at how awesome this is. I love this series. I kind of want to get one. It's kind of tricky because you got to be fast. I love the price and everything. I mean, this one, they've gone up a little bit. Estelle Flores. We were seeing Estelle on Rodeo, doing some experimentation, playing with big pixels and little pixels, and then adding I love the simplicity of this work, even the white background, just from a purely process perspective. And then you look at the ideas, the concept behind it, and you go, oh, that's even cooler. So there's a lot to love here. I don't think I've ever started with Estelle Flores. I don't think. So it's kind of exciting in that regard as well. Estelle Flores on object, Jenai Tricou, and I believe Jenai is notable for being one of pre-made Sims in The Sims 2 to have an outfit that comes with tattoos. She is deceased at the game's beginning, but during her lifetime, she inhabited the House of Fallen Trees. So it's a whole, a virtual portrait, a portrait of someone from a video game. Delightful. And the colors are delightful. Again, kind of retro screen look here. And again, kind of looks like different exports, really juxtaposed and layered. And then adding a little dance. And this is why I say we're only scratching the surface of digital art here, because here's just another process that Estelle Flores has found. Wonderfully simple. It's not easy to be simple, but it's just all distilled to its elements here, a simple contrast, a great concept, and even what looks like a white background. Very, very awesome series. So only selling for 15 Tezos here. Louis getting one, Scommer getting this one. This one's beautiful. Bella Goth. These ones are smaller. That first one, I believe, was the first. And I think Estelle was decided, you know what, these need to be smaller But, here's an interesting point, though. Like, if Estelle did want to make it big, as Rada pointed out, 300 shows ago, 250 shows ago, in Photoshop, you can make this larger. I'm sure Estelle knows, with nearest neighbor. Transform, check off nearest neighbor, and then you don't lose, if it's pixel art, you should maintain the resolution, so to speak, or the hi-fi crispness, so to speak. This is beautiful. I just love, and just this simple little glitch. It really adds, it almost brings life to the portrait. Beautiful. And again, such a simple concept. Wonderful color. And, Estelle Flores, again, the art, a lot of the art and kind of what makes it like almost high art for me is it's a process. We found the process, and the process, not only do we have a process, but the process works, right? The process works. So beautiful portrait here. We've gotten a few. They're coming out fast and furious here, and you just have to love it. There's like a randomness that's coming out through the export. You can see it here. So I brought up a few others. Love the red in here, because it's like a darker. Let's actually click on this because I'm not sure I brought this up. Olive Spectre, also from The Sims. And of course, Estelle, I believe from The Sims. Sims 2, Olive Spectre. And so look at the hair. This is gorgeous work. I love this work. To me, this is, again, it's distilled. It's awesome. The market loves it too. I mean, I haven't been able to pick one up yet. I just picked up, I spent too much money on a Martin Bruce, so I probably need to sell some art to buy more art. But all to say, here you see, the red, because probably it's more in the shadow. You see there's a few more dots here in the black and everything. So all to say, love this one too. This is good. This is like, I'm loving this work here. So exciting new work from Estelle Flores again, and just so crisp in concept and execution here, playing with the background a little bit. And this is what happens, right? Like if you work on a painting for a year, let's say you work on a digital artwork for a year, you're going to hum and haw over, should I make the background flash or not? Right? Should it be gray? Maybe it should be slightly less gray. Instead, it's much better to just make 10 different works, and then you can do it every way you can think of. Right? So it's kind of back, it's reminiscent. It brings me back to this whole, like, things I wish I knew in my 20s. The virtues of quantity, the virtues of being prolific. Because then here, and just in a purely, quote unquote, scientific exploration here, aesthetic exploration, what are we learning more from? If there's a lot of work, we're getting a lot of data, and we're kind of learning. It's like, oh, okay, this is what happens when you get the gray. And look, this export even gave us this line on top. She left it. Beautiful. It's like leaving the drips. It's leaving the mistakes. Embracing the mistakes, as Warhol would say. Another gorgeous portrait. This went to Sabato. 15 Tezos. So I sure hope a lot more come out. At a certain point, maybe you run out of characters, but what an awesome series. I'm really happy. John Cates, all-star collectors here, all-star cast of artists and collectors. And look at how brilliant. Here, again, I kind of come back to the virtues of being prolific. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to be super minimal on this one, and we'll just have 2 little pixels. And then it's, again, aesthetic research, as that wonderful commenter was calling it a few episodes ago. And here's another one. So just delightful. Tempered. I think they're 20 Tezos now. Still very, very, very reasonable. So Estelle Flores with fabulous work. Got to be glued onto object to pick one up. Okay, awesome. Look who is Hasdrubal Waffle, who is doing Lent. So you won't find Waffle's account, which is why he's not. There's no @ here. And maybe I don't know if we're going to see work. But picked up this work awesomely. Works on paper, 2-color mix. I'm really glad, as I said here in the comment, this is on Bitcoin, on Gamma. As I said to Waffles, I'm really glad you appreciated this one, because this is an export, 2-color export. And let's see and pray our computer. This is a 2-color export of another work from the Pixel Art Sketchbook. And big thank you. Look at how cool this looks. Luke 500. Luke 500 helped me out, and look at this. It's so exciting. So now you can click on the different collections here, and you can get the Pixel Art Sketchbook. So it's based on this work here. And when I was making it, I was just like, I just love this export when I do it 2 colors. And so, so unfortunately, ordinals.com is not letting us look at the original here. But I'm not sure this is going to work. Yeah, there it is. So it's going to be a little weird. It's going to be a little fuzzy because we're just using the browser to magnify rather than nearest neighbor. But this could be magnified infinitely. So all to say, how cool is that? So anyways, thank you for picking that up, Waffles. And yeah, it's getting exciting here on because now you have the different series. So here you go to Nostalgia Studies. And then you get all the Nostalgia Studies works, and even the ones that sold. Because one of the weird things about Gamma, for those that have used it, is if you don't ask Luke 500 to help you out and set the collection, he should actually make a business. That's a business, as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to give him a couple of works, by the way, as because very helpful. But the thing with Gamma, if you sell a work, it disappears from your collection. But if you if it disappears from your basic profile page when you just go here, right? It'll disappear. if it's already sold, but if it's in the collection, it stays. So that's awesome, because of course I sold these to Ebzer Deity there. And so very, very cool, very exciting. And also sold, I don't know if I mentioned this within the last show, I think this one sold as well. And this went, I think I may have mentioned this. I think I mentioned this last show. But I'm not sure, actually. Because this went to someone new. So I'm just having too much fun over here. I am thinking of experimenting with the colors, though. After seeing Seshern with a beautiful beige and red, and beige can go with so many things, very inspiring. Looking forward to seeing, great artists there. Okay, so big thank you to Waffles. And you have a work in the mail. Once we're connected, I will send it to you. Maybe I'll just send it to your account, because that's where the other work is anyway. But one thing you should know, I'll just show you this, finally. One thing you should know if you are kind of working on Bitcoin, because I do get a lot of questions actually on this, is if you go here, and if we, actually that's in the pixel art sketchbook. I will be very quick about this. If we go to the pixel art sketchbook, exactly, and then we go to here, what you're going to see is you go to Hasdrubal Waffles page and you have a DJ Kiro, awesomely, shout out to Kiro, and you have a Pocobelli there. So people get confused in a sense, because if Waffles mints a work, it'll also show up here. I think it's part of the, eccentricities of Bitcoin. So just so you know, so generally, you probably want to have a collector's wallet as well as a kind of artist's wallet, so to speak. As I look at that freeze, okay, we should hurry before computer crash. Okay, enough of that. So let's look at comments. Thank you for the comments last show, that wonderful walk work. Illusion T Soul. This looks like a good one. When I tell gallery collectors about how I sell my work, I tell them I sell my work in digital and physical formats. They're very receptive to the idea of using digital technology as a type of receipt. It seems to have a better effect than using other terminologies. And very much so, at least in terms of if you're selling physical work. It's definitely, in a sense, you can ask for a better receipt, I think. That's debatable, because there's nothing like the back having a big stamp on it too. But nevertheless, that is definitely one of the use cases for sure for art on the blockchain. Kind of trying that angle as of late. Excellent video as always. Thank you. Appreciate the comment. Kennex Zapata. Oh my God, I do think that's one of the ancient generative works is the I Ching. Interesting. I wonder if that was the one by Vera. Let's just look at the I Ching and how that comes out visually. Because remember, I think we saw that Vera, I wonder if this is the work. Is it Vera Molnar? I should really know. But I wonder if it's, I was thinking maybe this work, but no. So anyways, very interesting. I'm kind of curious which one Kennex Zapata is thinking of, and maybe we have a reply. Right on target. Interesting. So Phoebe agreeing. So I'm trying to figure out which one. Awesome to hear from you both. Awesome. Nicholas Dietrich, yes, compared to some artists, I am extremely slow. The work really goes against the fast pace of social media. Well, you just do whatever you need to do, Nicholas Dietrich. Very cool and exciting work. Unique, beautiful pixel artwork. Let's continue. I wonder if the work ever sold on Bitcoin. We're going to have to look. I wish Gamma would make it easier for people that aren't a partner to show up in the search. Like, basically, let me show you something. So if I put Pocobelli, I show up here. But if I put Hasdrubal Waffle, doesn't show up because isn't an official creator, apparently. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of back to the gated community argument. Open source platforms, there's something to be said for them. Let's continue. Thank you for the response. Nice response there. Nice views. Oblivion Fields. This was such a good work. I looked at it actually today, I think, this morning on Terminal. I think it's Zero Terminal. I was going to take advantage of the frozen screen To blow my nose. Anyways, it kind of looks awesome with the black too, doesn't it? Which is kind of funny. I thought that was on purpose. Very interesting. I guess a clear background. Anyways, awesome to hear from you. This made my day. Glad to hear. I love that people like being on the show. The limitations are definitely driving the final form of the work, an exercise in restraint for sure. Indeed. But isn't it wonderful? And I love the actual, like we're talking about symmetry. This is a nice use of symmetry. I think we could, it's not exactly symmetry. It's not a mirror. So anyways, and great color, as I mentioned there. Awesome color. Looks beautiful on the black. So let's continue. Bench. That's a great point about comics on lower quality paper. I agree with that. Have a great trip, Adrian. Share photos in your next artist journal. So yes, so I leave on Sunday. I thought it was Saturday. It's Sunday, so I should have one more show unless I really get taken out by this thing. But I should be fine. I think I'm already I'm not on the mend. I'm kind of at peak illness, but yeah. Anyways, thank you, Benj. And I'm glad you feel that way. It's a very subtle point that I was bringing up there about the older paper feeling more precious and valuable. And as I said, many years of comic collecting, I probably was very heavy into comic collecting from, let's call it age 13 to, let's call it 19. So much so that they just hired me at the comic store. 8th Street Books in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So I have a lot of comics, a lot of thoughts on comics. I could probably... Although I don't care about comics after 2000, basically. Even, I'd say 1995, I start to lose interest, other than Alan Moore's Promethea. There are exceptions in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Promethea is one of the best comics I've ever read, and that is, I think, late 90s, early 2000s. So there is something to be said for it. And, of course, there's great comics out there. But generally speaking, I did lose interest around late 90s. That's also when techno started encroaching on me. Anyways, let's continue. Thank you for the comment. Great comment. Eggley Illo, thanks for the shout out. Glad to see my name cross your desk. Indeed, my friend. And I believe we have a couple of more, Eggley. So great to hear from you. Martin Bruce, also not a big fan of symmetry. Great show as always. Indeed, thank you, Martin Bruce. Martin Bruce. Wait till you see the works by Martin Bruce this episode. And it seems to be releasing these things like, I don't know what's going on, honestly, with Martin Bruce, but something is going on, and it's feeling very, very, very cutting edge, as you're going to see. We will discuss further. Revolu.eth, great to hear from you. Thank you for the comment. Absurdeity. Hello, Adrian. I'm certain I cannot be the only one who now obsessively refreshes my YouTube tab on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, hoping that your artist journal will have dropped between refreshes. Well, I'm super glad to hear that. Appreciate the thoughts, Absurdating. Glad you enjoy it. Yet another addiction I fear I have developed, but perhaps this one is not bad for me. I hope it's educational. I hope, I try and it's kind of a weird mix. I could go on and on here, but it's kind of a weird mix of editorial, education, digital art, and then, crypto culture a little bit. Thank you for anyways, let's continue. Thank you for your enthusiastic celebration of the relatively small group of regular collectors on the Tezos blockchain. Right, we're discussing the importance of collectors. I know I speak for many of my fellow collectors when I state that when we collect, it is in celebration of the artists who daily take the risk of sharing their works. Every morning I wake up to the thought, quote, I wonder what amazing art has been minted while I was asleep or will be later today. And I just think we're so lucky to be able to, we're in art paradise, I would argue. I'm not used to every day, here, and it's not one work. Think of before, the art on the blockchain sort of thing was in your life. It was kind of once every few weeks you come across a work where you go, that is something to, really pay attention to and be excited about. I feel like here we're getting multiple a day. So it does feel like a golden age in that respect. And, it's kind of funny. I got an email to my work email. I do a podcast for the Northern Miner, of course, on natural resources. And I got email from like, oh, there's a new, because I get all sorts of PR on that email, and it's like, oh, there's a new NFT book, and it's like they have an interview with all of the characters you've heard before, and I was just like, this book, another book that has nothing to do with with what I'm interested in. And here I am spending hours a week on video talking about art on the blockchain, and it just seems like this thing has, it's just living in another planet. So it's interesting because I've talked about it as the war for digital art. And there is like a war for the history. And it made me very glad that I am doing this show because it presents an alternative history. And, and maybe theirs is the alternative history. Because I was kind of like, what is this? Like, no, I don't want your, they offered me a free book, and I was just like, it was all the same stuff, all this, bordering, anyways. Don't mind the cold medication, my friends. I am regularly awed by the creativity, talent, humor, depth, irreverence, and just pure aesthetic beauty generated by the artists in our online community. Were I able, I would collect 10 times the art I currently do, as I know there is even more talent of which I am yet unaware or simply cannot afford to collect from. Given that limitation, I am grateful to my fellow collectors because I know they will spot and collect the art I cannot. There may not be many of us at the present time. Interestingly, but collectively, we do what we can to support the great talented artists of this underground movement. Indeed, alas, there's just so much talent. It's very exciting, isn't it? And I share, and a lot of, I think the artists will relate to what you're saying because, a lot of as we saw with Estelle Flores, like who's buying it? It's other artists. Mostly it was Louis, it was Sabato, it was Scamra, right? Among others. So, and I just blew a whole bunch of Tezos on a Martin Bruce, So it's quite, so I think a lot of even the artists relate to what you're saying. Anyways, Walk. Awesome. Thank you, Adrian. Congratulations on the sale, and it includes a physical. We're going to have a tweet on that. Love to hear from Walk. Awesome. August Ground, quick note, those Lily Illo pieces are remixes of Punk 7635 upcoming Deviant drops. Interesting. Oh, wow. Thank you, August Ground. So starting with this and ending with this. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. You see analogies with techno again, right? Where even the remix, and we're almost back to Scamra with the homage to Freganar, where it's almost like, if the color wasn't, almost identical here, if not identical, you'd be like, you wouldn't even know that this was derived, right? And so anyways, very interesting. Thanks, August Ground, and for pointing that out. And congrats, Artie Hands and Lily Illo. Beautiful work. Greg Nick Shumika. Love Solowit and Vera Molnar. Yeah, interesting discussion there, wasn't there? Here we go. More from Greg. Vera Molnar has done works, had works done pre-computers, by the way. The way I think of generative art is as art that is created using some algorithm. There is a set of instructions, often with some random element. You can throw a die, for example, as an analog random number generator to decide on the elements. The results can be both digital and analog. Solowit's works are generated in the real world, so they are not digital and often have no randomness in them. What's interesting, I feel like generative art has two definitions. I would argue there's the general definition, which you're describing here. But I also feel like oftentimes, at least in current parlance, generative art often does, at least like if you're on X, for what that's worth, generative art tends to mean art made with computers, generally speaking, right? At least in our little kind of digital art bubble that we are in on X, interestingly. So it seems to have almost kind of a dual meaning. Let's continue. Vera Molnar made her first works in an analog way and then also used computers, so she did both. Also, Vera Molnar believed that an artist did not have to accept any output of an algorithm as valuable, and she often created the outputs that she found effective. In her view, that was part of her work as an artist, as I like to call it, the artist as editor, which, because with AI, I'd argue this is even more important. I use a similar approach when doing my generative pieces. Long story short, it can be both digital and physical. Thank you for the comment. Very interesting. Yeah, so we're going to continue to just kind of learn as we go here about what's happening. Zozo, very interesting show. Just now I realized the music at the end comes from an NFT and you collected. Yes, that is Tradscape. Tradscape does the beginning music and the end music. Those are both one of ones that Tradscape said, do what you want with. So that's rad. Big shout out to Tradscape. Thank you, Zozo, for the comment. Deck art, great show, so much to chew on. And this is, I think, a platform, all for exceptional art. Therefore, we are art. So it's kind of a newer platform. For those that are wondering, thank you for the comment, Deck art. Bank 8 Coup. So this is great. I mean, I was very excited to see this. I mean, it's kind of a fun incorporation into our, curation here, so to speak, is this incorporation of Japanese pixel artists. I find it just like wonderful content. Like it's just like really rich, exciting, keeps the show new, and they're very good, right? So even better, they're watching and saying, "Wow, we're in the show." Feels very international out here. So really thrilled to hear from Banate Ku, I think is how you... I'm glad you watched Kaneko. Thank you. So you are very welcome. This is quite interesting. Now, where are we here? My friend who works in a library, here it is. See that? Blockchain? Sent me this. Espace, kind of like an arty magazine. It has a whole... issue on the blockchain. But you notice how they say blockchain here? It's not NFTs. And it makes me wonder, I'm kind of back to, when I talk to people, I say it's art on the blockchain. And we're going to see more reasons for this in a few tabs. But that's kind of the term that I'm kind of settling on. And you see it here. And when you see blockchain, you're not like, oh, this is the Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is the main association, right? Or whatever else that, are in these books that keep coming out that are trying to tell us, this semi-manufactured history, but incomplete. Let's put it this way. Anyways, art on the web of value. It's almost more of a history of the crypto scene's relation to art than a history of digital art on the blockchain in these books. But here, this looks interesting. So it's a $10 PDF. Add to cart, art on the web of value, and unfortunately, so I haven't bought it. I'm kind of tempted to, though. As they say here, so they just start going, this is the introduction. A blockchain is a database, and off they go. And then you got to pay $10, I think Canadian, which is almost like, which is like $6 these days, American. Maybe that's American. I'm not sure. So anyways, just kind of interesting. Understand the whole issue. The digital traces of exchange. So this could be an interesting one. I might have to buy this. Just to see Jonas Lund, decentralized autonomous art practice. So could be interesting because this is not, again, a typical angle here. So thank you, my friend Jared, who's at the library, the Vancouver's art gallery's library there, runs the library. Great to see him doing well when I was in Vancouver. This is interesting. So ChatGPT, how are we doing? 28 minutes. ChatGPT image generation, unlocking. So this is interesting because it's starting to get really good. The renderings, as you see the text here, which has always been one of the kind of real challenges for blockchain is getting for AI image making is usually you see this kind of weird text looking image or image of text. Here, this looks, I think it's all AI. So this is impressive, all to say. And it's kind of interesting as well, like this text here, this is AI. And you just, for those that have used AI, you know how this never happens. Usually it's just this, what I call AI distortions. And it's going to be interesting to see how artists deal with it. Because, you look at Lily Illo, whose work we were just looking at, that remixed Artie Hands, it kind of thrives off of these distortions. What happens when everything gets kind of almost, the verisimilitude becomes like identical or hard to, if we don't have the distortions, how do we make art out of it? I mean, of course, we'll have different ways. Anyways, let's continue. Sam Altman, images in ChatGPT, 2 things to say about it. Incredible technology. I was having a hard time seeing that they were really made by AI. We think people will love it, and we're excited to see it. Also, we're concerned about controversy here, but they are kind of keeping things open. without too many limits, it sounds like, unless society says otherwise, as they put it. Anyway, just kind of interesting. This is interesting too. So, Canik Zapata, because I love GIF, I taught my computer via Python, once again, how to make them. And now it creates random GIFs from random files. That is pretty amazing. Is this generative art? I mean, in a sense, you could argue. Are the variables the images you upload? You know, and then you're kind of back to, is AI when you use Blend? Is that generative art? You know, so it just is probably algorithms, right? So interesting. And Canik Zapata has put out quite a few of these. Almost has a bit of a Fantavision animation style, right? And I wonder if that's in the programming. If you say, like, maybe this was made with AI programming, where it's like, hey, can you create, random animations with a Fantavision-like, effect, as you see here. So very interesting from Canik Zapata. Back to NFT term, Retromanny, who of course I follow, seen people call for the words crypto, Web3, and NFTs to be removed from our vocabulary. Did the experiment fail? The hopium was a trip, but now we got to hold on to what it is we really believe in, not something that ultimately is being used as a get-rich-quick scheme by gamblers, scammers, and grifters, which unfortunately is the association that I would argue NFTs have. And we're going to see evidence of that in the following tabs. And so as Manny says, what do you believe in? The space still relentlessly suffers from rug pulls, wash trading, false promises, and lies. Often those we're being told to trust the most. So again, I call it art on the blockchain. That is kind of the term I've settled on. I don't want to use NFTs. I don't think it's a term worth fighting for. Honestly, like, I think it's fine as a historical term for crypto and what it is. It's a non-fungible token. But in terms of discussion, it's just unnecessarily political and polarizing, as I think Skardek was pointing out, and as I mentioned here before. So I don't think it's a term worth saving, frankly, or fighting for. And I don't know if Manny feels that way either. I think he's just opening the question, but I'm kind of back to art on the blockchain. Look at how kind of sophisticated and kind of neutral it looked when it was on the cover of Espace there, which is space in French. Cook. So, and here, this is kind of like, here are some examples of what Manny is talking about, arguably. Taproot Wizards, which is trying to get you to pay $18,000 for a mint today, and then not giving you the NFT until Friday, or ordinal, I assume, because they need to manually check each mint. Scam of the year, completely ridiculous. I know people feel like they should be entitled to this word, and I used to feel that way, but just on this point, because I used to feel that way. I was like, well, what's the problem? I used that when I was a kid. But then, my ex worked at the Special Olympics, and when you see people who don't really have, the same kind of functionality of their brain, and you see how vulnerable, and you also see how human they are. Yeah, I don't like the term at all. Because I know a lot of, especially in crypto and on X, people, hold on to this term, and I understand where they're coming from. But it irks me now, and I'm not Mr. like, we have to be politically correct on every single thing, but this one irks me. Anyways, let me continue. Who was it that liked the spice? Was it Rural Idol? Whoever idea this was, you are a scammer. So whoever's idea this was, you're a scammer. So, I mean, this is ridiculous. It's like 0.2 Bitcoin. And wait till you see. And then this person, Nifty Noon Newsletter, some anonymous account, Taproot Wizards at 0.2 Bitcoin at a reasonable price with upside for minters. And you see, it has nothing to do with the art. It's all about the grift. Right? Is the Taproot, and here's my humble analysis, leveraging empirical data. And then here it is. And this is what we're talking about here. So no wonder society, people outside of the scene, and frankly, even within the scene, look at this and go, the NFTs suck. Like, who wants to be associated with these kind of lame little drawings that are selling for $18,000, and then they made $30,000 off this whole thing. Like, this just says pump and dump. That's all I see here. But is it overpriced with the supply of point being, here's the market cap. For comparison, here are the top projects. Like maybe these, as I say, these things are not worth, $10,000, $15,000. The puppets, the node monkeys, the quantum cats. I'd say they're worth about $30, $30 to $100 is my assessment. But it's all about just like, this like speculative manipulation, frankly. And no, there's no wizard behind the thing manipulating everything, but it's kind of like a collective, like who can, extract the most value out of this thing. And I guess, if you want to play that, you can play that, but I just think it's ridiculous. And then here you have someone who's like, what is the crypto news breakdown saying, saying this is a good idea. It's a good investment. So, maybe I'm missing something, but I just think it's ridiculous, this whole thing. And no wonder people hate this stuff. So, yeah. Someone, yeah. If you're holding, it's cheap. So anyways, yes. Let's continue. Here's another example. So do you hold on-chain monkey? So I think these things, everything makes sense here, and very organic project with great team and community, Katoshi migration and mint incoming with 4K high resolution art being inscribed on Bitcoin. So this is the kind of stuff that is selling for thousands of dollars. And again, so I'm just like art on the blockchain. I don't want to be at all associated with any of this stuff. So I don't mind, again, NFT is not a word worth saving, in my opinion, or a term worth fighting for. So I don't want to be associated with this in a million years. And we have more. But wait, there's more. Shape, believe in NFT, believe in Shape. $, Shape, believe in NFTs, tokenized. NFTs are not a trend, they're a revolution. They get to guarantee permanence. And so claim your Shape. Shape represents you. Now it's yours to claim. Here's how: mint your stack, earn medals. So climb the ranks by completing on-chain achievements. I just see grift. That's all I see here. I see pump and dump. I see people trying to extract money from individuals. Okay? Build on Shape, get gas back, 80% of network fees, all powered by NFTs. And then get your little medal, so believe in NFT, believe in Shape. So not even that many, for a well-known blockchain, that's not really a big response, is it? So it's almost like, yeah. And thanks for the digital medal. Here's more. Life is simple. Grow a garden, help Ethereum, claim Shape. Shape is built on Ethereum, so we're pledging 1% of Shape to the Protocol Guild, the organization that houses the devs who make Ethereum possible. Join the pledge. 50% of all mints from Lenny JPEG's Infinite Garden go to the Protocol Guild. And where does the other 50% go? But gardening is hard work, so okay. So they make their ChatGPT algorithm art, and now let's extract. Zora, there will be a coin for every piece of content on the internet. Do you think there's going to be a coin for every single piece of content on the internet? I mean, maybe 10 years from now, people look at this video and they laugh. I laugh now. Why? Why should we have a coin for every piece of content on the internet? Is there a market? Is there liquidity? Do you know how many digital objects, how many JPEGs are on the internet? And you're saying there's going to be a coin for each one of them? For what? The whole point of art, digital art on the blockchain is you're actually creating value, right? And it's so they're basically saying for valueless content, if you're talking about every piece of content, you're going to have valueless content. We need a coin. So, and someone, who shall remain nameless was messaging me, using Zora and being like, I was trying to, get the money out. I couldn't get the money out. And then it was like, and then he was found out, there's no liquidity, so that's why you can't get the money out. And then someone's like, well, you actually don't want to take the money out because that's the coin, and then that rugs the people who've bought the coin. So it's just it doesn't even work, I would argue, Zora's system. So how, it just continues over there. I don't know what's going on. Fungible would love to see OpenSea fulfill the prophecy and finally ship support for art on Tezos. And you know what I thought to myself? This is the greatest thing that ever happened to Tezos and Object as well, is that OpenSea never delivered on their promise of Tezos NFTs are coming. Another broken promise. Thank God, because we probably wouldn't have royalties. They probably would have gotten rid of royalties. So thank God OpenSea never got Tezos, and hopefully they never will. Easily one of the most important chains for crypto art, or for art on the blockchain, and one whose community has never complained about paying royalties or platform fees in full. This is why you don't want OpenSea, because they've already, gone back, and, so I think I made my point here. DeggyD. So this is a series, so switching gears. DeggyD is putting out some more writing here. This is a series in which I juxtapose traditional artworks with NFT artworks, attempting to bring two worlds closer together that are now separated by a deep chasm. Juxtaposition number 1, so Kazimir Malevich's Black Square, which actually we discussed, I remember, quite a while ago. Is it a Ukrainian artist, Malevich? I think this is debatable. Actually, is it a Russian or Ukrainian? The paint is heavily degrading over time, slowly turning blue with white cracks. Schlom's shape is a 1x1 pixel that runs for 255 years. So here you have the square, the black square, and comparing it to the pixel. Cool comparison from DeggyD. Let me just blow my nose quickly here as we continue. 41 minutes. Got to speed up here. Jan Lucas Magoon, check this out. Look at how good that looks. Nice job. Look at the texture, the richness of this print. This is how it's done. Very nice work from Jan Lucas Magoon. Nice video too, by the way. Very professional. Here's Axstone. This one's a little longer. Let me kill the audio for copyright reasons. You see the stamp? Probably a custom-made stamp by Axstone. So kind of like a certificate of authenticity on the back. Authenticating it, and then signs it, Axstone, and then signature. Maybe could use an edition number. And so here they are. Look at this. So this totally impressed me. So this impressed me because how to keep your work in good condition if you're bringing it around, and then you just cut off this thing and then it's sealed. So for collectors, it's really amazing. So Axstone, very cool. And then you just cut them up and then you sell them. So that little vacuum seal thing, very, very cool from Axstone. I believe out of Turkey, if I'm not mistaken. It's a great ad. Another great ad, Illy Illo. When I say hand-generated, this is what it means. This looks awesome. January 2023. That looks awesome. So very cool work there. This is illustrated by Simon Bailey. This was just on X, and just kind of a fun print, I guess, criticizing the consumer culture and someone freeing themselves from the shopping cart. From the shopping cart of our lives here. Let's continue. Walk, original 1-of-1 spray painting sold. So it comes. Original 1-of-1 spray painting available via private message. So spray on paper. So I wonder what it went for. Yeah, I mean, so these, there's not much physical art that I'd actually want, but, Walk, Hermipe, very exciting stuff. Let's get into the work here. Martin Bruce, Foundation. What next from the inimitable Martin Bruce? Just fabulous color here again. Is it abstract? Is it figurative? We see a little bit of the snake here. You see the snow. Recognizable, interestingly, but utterly unpredictable. Just a joy. Starting bid 0.158. That is on Foundation. I picked up this work just an hour ago. Bleach, 1-of-1. Just a delightful surprise here. Just delightful work. Novel imagery. Just awesome. 900 by 700, edition of 1. I am kind of slowly, I still put out editions, and I like putting out editions, but if I have a special work, I'm gravitating towards the 1-of-1. If it's special, it feels like this should be 1-of-1. So I'm loving seeing these 1-of-1s from Martin Bruce. Cloud Behind the Scene, another awesome one, picked up by Absurd Deity. Just completely unpredictable, wild, just delightful. A work here, some pixelation, and over here, this repetition of this kind of whatever this is. One of the most exciting. It's tempting. I'm not in absolutes here, and it all depends on context. But is definitely in the running for one of, if not the most exciting artist here on the blockchain, and probably in none of these books. And what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Well, here's another candidate. Here's Wozo, Fading Afternoon. Let's see. This poet, Zozo. Oh, look. Very quiet audio here. I'm not sure if this is full resolution. It is. Again, unpredictable, and just this drone. I feel like I need to be quiet here. Like, this is pushing it forward. Zuozo pushing it forward. Wow. Fading Afternoon, the poet Zuozo, and there is some poetry. There is some poetry. Going to Absurdity, 300 Tezos. Nice sale, $217. Portrait of Miss L here is Nov 1914 with another gorgeous, I believe this is a homage. I think we're in Impressionism land as far as homages. That black stroke there, gorgeous work. After Guan Zilan. Haven't heard of that person, artist, but beautiful homage there. Flowers in a Crystal Vase, edition of 10, still available for 8 Tezos. So more just beautiful, beautiful work here. From Nov 1914 out of Argentina. Here is Cesar. This was picked up by Glitch, edition of 1. And that went for 60 Tezos at auction. The capital C, cool composition here from Cesar, and just kind of a cool, kind of modern view, and even some referring to their old other paintings or images in the painting here. Just cool work. So going for 60 Tezos, part of the Emergence Gallery, or ACTZ Gallery. Here's Santiago, also known as Time, with a couple of AI collage GIMP works. Very nice works here. This is on Object. Nice color scheme, kind of pushing things forward here as well. Edition of 15 for 5 Tezos, selling 4. And a couple on X, or here's one on X. Of course, I follow Time. So cool work here. Interesting series. Love the black. Gaspard de la Guerre, GM. So also could hang in the same room here. So cool work here from Gaspard de la Guerre. And that is posted on X, but probably on Object. Here's Mumbleboy. Earth looks pretty down by my window. So this is on Object, and I think we have another one from Rodeo. Beautiful. This is also going somewhere. And again, this is what makes you most bullish. What makes me most bullish on the scene is the artists continue. Because when the artists continue, then they continue. And then it starts getting even more interesting, as you see here. Just put on Rodeo here, this beautiful work. So nice work from Mumbleboy. Here's Kurt Hustle Collective, Starvin' Sergey. How much food can Sergey savor before it's too late? Fun music. 1311. Kind of video game. Always great music there. That is an edition of 10 for 10 Tezos. Very reasonable. How are we doing here? 3, 4 gone. Nice collectors there. This is the Kurt Hustle Collective website. KurtHustle.tv, I think it is. And these are classic. And you can change the channel. Just awesome. Maybe it's good. So, very, very cool here. So anyways, let's continue. Skamra. Beautiful work from Skamra. Canik Zapata, one early morning on the year 3459. Almost looking like a almost like a mermaid here. Look at how gorgeously painted this is by Scamra, this AI artwork here. I mean, again, you think of all the, official narratives that are coming out of what AI art is supposed to be. Where's Scamra? Where is Scamra in all of these discussions? Another beautiful work here. So the work will speak for itself, I think, over time, as, here's another one. Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night. I picked up one of these. So just really cool textures here from Scamra. Stable diffusion. So pure AI over here. Here is Pete Ritchie. Surrender to the Apparatus. Also AI, I believe. So it must be. I don't know if there might be collage in here too, or edits. Not sure. Cool work from Pete Ritchie again. Continuing on. Ilya Bliznet's AI digital painting and collage cleaning. And I believe this was posted in the community, actually. So interesting work here. Again, digital painting and AI. Cool chair with the spray from Ilya Bliznet's. This is an edition of 15 for 10 Tezos and almost sold out. Nice work. Here's Gozo Night, just posted on X, and just some flowers here, really textured AI digital collage. Very interesting. Here's Nicholas Sassoon, Shores, and these are pretty spectacular when you make them large. This is the X version, but when you go to Nicholas Sassoon's website, you see each little pixel. It's quite something. Beautiful work. Bite by Bit Super Soccer. So using some retro software, maybe even playing with some simulated or made up video games, not sure. Instant Artist 1.0. So coming across new softwares. Happy birthday. So fun work from Bite by Bit, editions of one for 35 Tezos. Here is Notan Mariana with some KidPix work, KidPix Cubes. And this was a commission for one of one, based, I think, on Saul LeWitt's, inspired by Distorted Cubes, a wall drawing by Saul LeWitt. So maybe taking Saul LeWitt's instructions here, perhaps, and making a work in KidPix. Cool idea. So this is just a commission. Beautiful work by Ariel Presti. Paint me like one of your French girls. Just awesome work here. This is exciting. Love the different color contours here too. Very, 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 very interesting from Ariel Presti. That is edition of 3 for 15 Tezos. I was almost thinking I'd love to see this as an edition of 1. And let's continue. Element Lee, Unicon. Kind of looks like a phone icon that is leaking, and so more interesting, experimental, unpredictable work from Element Lee. Zofio Gore with a work Emtos Corvos, and so almost like some video glitchery in the negative space here, or in the outlines here, or within the outlines of the Zofio Gore character, almost like fries over there. Let me blow my nose again. How are we doing? Sui Soichi. Jester's Roulette. Very cool work from Sui Soichi. Again, avant-garde pixel art. There's a little bit of a noise on top of this, or processing to complexify the pixel art. This is an edition of 50 for 667 and 3 gone. Here is Hisa. It's Morning. So cool pixel art out of Japan. Here once again, I believe out of Japan. So indeed, translated from Japanese. So cool work there. Some eggs on toast. Here is Spiegel's Meskinen, I believe out of Denmark, if I'm not mistaken. This is a new one. Auction bid starting at 0.666. And here, we'll see if it loads. And I think we've got to leave it. So there you can see the work, though. This is probably the real size anyway. This is on Foundation, 320 by 240 by 4. Here is also Spiegel's Meskinen, this time on Object. 50 Tezos Cave edition of 12. So more cool work from Spiegel's. This is from February 11th. I'm not sure we saw that one. Part of Cyberforms. Here is Ed Marola, Demon Dance. So an interesting kind of lower res demon here from Edmarola, keeping it interesting. Edition of 21 for 550 each. And here is Jeremy Austin with some cool zero contract works, on-chain artworks here. And there are a series of portraits here. I thought this was a pretty cool one from Jeremy Austin. So taking an offer and selling this one on, I think, the zero contract platform, if I'm not mistaken. And here are all the different ones. So very cool. So I'm not exactly sure on details on where it's sold, but or is it zeroterminal.art? This is pretty cool wallpaper here, or whatever it is, art piece from Sergeant Slaughtermelon. Here, nice big kind of wide angle piece. Here's Pinky Blue. You no longer call me. No longer call me. You know what's interesting about this? It's almost like the work in progress. Maybe if you got rid of, it looks like a work in progress, doesn't it? And maybe it's not, but it looks like a work in progress to me with A Sprite in the background. If you got rid of the A Sprite but you kept the figure here, like you kept all the art on here and then just put a solid black background, that would look really cool. Ban 8 Coup. So we were seeing them earlier in the program, so posting this interesting pixel art here, again, I believe out of Japan. So great to see their work. And here is Koneko. So some more work by Koneko. Delightful work here of cats and birds. And here is another work, cats, this time in pink, by Koneko. And here is another one. So very fun pixel art from Koneko. And this is the Ban 8 Coup website. So I think you see Koneko's work here. So somehow they're associated. And here you see the power of projectors, I think. This looks lit up, so very cool. And you see a lot of Koneko's work here on the Ban 8 Coup website. So the exploration into Japanese pixel art continues. Here's Empress Trash, and this is on the zero, maybe we can get the actual zeroterminal.art. And so Empress Trash putting out an on-chain artwork on Tezos. Very cool there. Here's Ed Woods, Supersize Me, Give Me a Fix. So maybe a burger with looking like Ed Woods was talking about the software that you can use to create these kind of virtual Commodore 64 and older gaming screens. Let's continue bite by bit again. Cool black and white pixel artwork here, pixel art abstract. This is only 10 Tezos edition 01. Nice work. Pixel Fool with some cool work here on X, a animated abstract, pixelated out. So classic Pixel Fool. Cool numbers here in the bottom. Here is Shadow Nemesis, luminous Lego bricks. I believe this was posted in the community. And just kind of fun. Lego bricks as an animated abstract. Very cool there. Only $1, only a Tezos 50, only $1 each. Feels with a cool work. This is 117 retweets. This is on X, so different kind of work by Feels. But still an animated abstract. Here's Slava 3. And cool kind of textured animation here of old computers and web imagery, recycling bin. Very cool. This was super cool. Elna Frederick, I'll just leave it on for a second. I think this is the old Apple logo, if I'm not mistaken. There is Isaac Newton. Yes, Apple Computer Company. I think this is the original logo. I could be mistaken. Cool work there. Here's Gons. Check this out. Look at this. Radical work from Gons. Very cool and interesting to see if that mints. Yama. So this is Renki. Again, this is on Instagram. So cool textures here. Here's Yuran Yekon, stream number 30. So more exploration here by Yuran Yekon of pixelation and just video processing, perhaps. Very cool work there. Here is Klaus, I think is what we'd call this Klasmando. It's Klaus on object. Oh, this is composition 94, so an older one. And here is Exmortal with a couple of really cool works here with sound, interestingly. I'm going to have to go a couple of minutes over here. If things play, the internet may have died. Here we go. So interestingly, adding volume into the mix, and we have another one. Bit of a slightly Eno feel to it in a nice way. Yeah, very powerful. Powerful audio. Wayward Drift. I love this opening. This itself is gorgeous. Gorgeous. Wow. Okay, we gotta move. This is in Past Futures on Object 1, so this is part of Ex-Mortal's show on Object 1. Nice one. Here's Salawaki. So still in the gallery here, and looking like the agitated or gyrating maybe collector here, and there is the trout, and pretty hilarious, while hiring a Liam Neeson impersonator to intimidate them into watching for 30 minutes. And I guess that's the Liam Neeson impersonator. I even hardly know what Liam Neeson looks like. Here's Ilya Moved. More, I think, AI textures and AI almost textiles. Human Boy posted in the community. Thank you, Human Boy. Cool work here. AI artwork from Human Boy. And also Michael Pybus. Interesting work here. An interesting physical. No title. Jake Pliskin. More of this artist with the race car driver hats just covered in logos. You gotta love it. Very original work. And look at how beautiful the canvas is outside of the head. 17 by 21 acrylic on wood panel. Here is Kayla Mattis again. I'm not sure we saw this one. More textile work sponsored. Yeah, that's like a Pocobelli. Nieves Gonzalez. This is interesting as well. Kind of a basketball player in a traditional representation, which is quite interesting. Here as well. These kind of modern figures, modern looking figure, or in kind of a traditional medium. Watchy Boy. I guess Watchy Boy. It's not gallery. I guess Watchy Boy. It kind of looks like Elon Musk, doesn't it? And here is Eli Illo again. Nested planters in lavender and lemon. So this is a physical. So cool, very nice physical artwork. Ink and marker on heavy paper. And here's Gregorio Zanardi, who's really doing great work here. So posting this on Super Rare, nice physical. And that is your show, my friends. Thank you for joining me. And one more show before things get sporadic for a couple of weeks. And thank you for all the support. Until next time, take care.